after tonight, just 2 games remaining in the AHL regular season for the Wolves. So let's, Billy, go to the Twitter mailbag and answer some questions, some well-timed questions. We started off with Jack. He wants to know if Jake Allen will be in the running for the league MVP award. You certainly got to think he's right up there for the best goaltender, the Baz Bastine award. But how do you rank it for MVP?
Well, first team All-Star, he was voted on that. So obviously everyone knows he's a good player from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference, where the coaches and players do vote. So will he win the MVP? I think it's very difficult for a goaltender. Travis Morin in Texas had a terrific year offensively, and I think that's what they look at more than anything is numbers. It's very difficult for anybody voting because you only really see half a conference or half the league with the Western and Eastern Conference. These teams do not match up against each other, so you really do not have the luxury of watching a lot of players. But Jake, you can't say he's had a tough year at all. He's been tremendous. He's been the MVP of this team. He's kept them in so many games. And I think just by getting the first team All-Star shows how good he has been. Is he in the running? Definitely.
Yeah, I can only think of Jason LaBarbera as the AHL netminder that has won the league MVP award and the best goaltender award in the same season, and he was certainly dominant that year with the Manchester Monarchs. Keeping with the awards theme, we move along. How does Ty Ratty not make it on the AHL All-Rookie team? That is from Tom. Certainly a lot of young players having great seasons in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, first of all, when you look at youngsters coming into the league, I think the first couple of months might be difficult. The transition from maybe junior or college is difficult. You're playing with men now, and this is the all-rookie team. And the guy, as you look at that lineup, Curtis McKenzie offensively has had a terrific year. He's been consistent, playing on a very good team. Teemu Pelkkinen also that way, scoring goals, and that's who Ty Ratty's been up against all year long, trying to be the top goal scorer. The guy that you look at really is Ryan Strome in Bridgeport. Why? Because he's with the New York Islanders, and he's only played 37 American Hockey League games. And in my eyes, there should be some sort of stipulation on number of games. I think guy's a great player. There's no doubt about that. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Ty Ratty's going to play a lot of games in the American Hockey League. He's been pretty consistent, and I really do believe because of the number of games he's played, he should be in that spot. I think when you look back at the lockout year, you saw some pretty good youngsters playing in Oklahoma City, and the guy named Schultz played defense and won all the awards on the defense, but he only played half the year. Is that right? I don't think it is. I think there should be some mandate put in by even the coaches that vote on this about the number of games you should play. I know Davey Allison said the same thing, and Ty Ratty, I think, deserves to be on that team. No doubt about it. He's had a terrific year, and he's been very consistent, especially since January 1.
And one of the other things John Anderson brought up, too, is maybe having the Western Conference coaches just vote for a Western Conference team and the Eastern Conference coaches vote for an Eastern Conference team. It's so hard. Only the North Division is the only team that sees any Eastern Conference opponents during the AHL regular season, at least in the Western Conference side of the ledger.
All right, I agree with you.
We move along to Joan, and she wants to know what John Anderson would also like to know. Will any of the players that are recalled be coming back to join the Wolves for the postseason? They get a couple back here this week, but there are still some guys up with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, there is, and really, who knows what's going to happen. They've got some key injuries to some pretty good players in St. Louis, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I think we will see a few guys back. Hopefully, at playoff time, you seem to get a little bit better. You want to play, and hopefully that'll be the case with the Blues, and we'll get back some of the youngsters. Ty Ratty, we're just talking about, I think he will be one of the guys, unless he lights a lamp a few times in today's game, and they are playing. But Mark Kandari, Calgary is not going to make the playoffs, so he will be back with the Wolves this week. We were hoping today maybe, but that is not going to be the case. He's played a couple of games as of late. In fact, even last night. A good addition, though, offensively, and a solid player, and plays hard all the time. So that'll be nice to have him back on the blue line. Of course, you got Adam Cracknell, Keith Aucoin, Sergei Andronov. Those guys have the possibility of coming back, but who really knows, depending on what happens up in St. Louis.
All right, we got one final question, and with all the recalls, the AHL becomes the land of opportunity and taking advantage of it. Kelly wants to know, will Jake Chelios be on the team for the playoffs? He's a guy that was brought up to fill the need on the back end, and you got to think he's here to stay now at this point because Toledo's season in the ECHL is done.
I thought he had an excellent game in Milwaukee. Was very noticeable, made some really good decisions, and felt, in my eyes, comfortable on the ice. He will be. I was talking to the coaches about this situation, and This is not to take anything away from Jake Chelios. I said, will Jake Chelios be in the playoff roster? And I forgot the fact that they do not have a list. They used to have a list, and there was a number of players that were on that, and a lot of guys were left off that list, and you needed injuries, et cetera, emergency situations for them to be in the playoffs. But they did say, they still have a number of defensemen here. If they're all healthy, Jake will probably not play. He has been terrific. He's gaining some great experience. He's showed that he can play in the American Hockey League. But if healthy, the Wolves need the key guys back in their lineup if they're going to be successful.
And one of the things Gene Ubriaco, the senior advisor, said about Chelios, this is a guy that we want to get a taste here because we're very interested in having him with the Wolves next season.
That's what he's been talking about it with a few of the guys they've brought in. They do want them in long-term situations, so you get that flavor of the American Hockey League and the great Chicago Wolf organization.
All right, well, the next time we look at the Twitter mailbag, let's hope it's a Calder Cup playoff mailbag. We'll come back with more of our second intermission here in Des Moines.